How to start a thriving garden. I will share with you some essential tips you need to know. Before you start a garden, it is essential for you to know these things.
Sweet Jamaica, man, I land that. Me no stop love it. I mean, know the world massive love it and them respect it, man. Hear this? A lot of mercy. Help me big up Jamaica, the land of wood and water.
My Jamaican Backyard Garden, Portmore Edition. This is Gardening with Stacey. Come garden with me now, man.
Welcome and welcome back to another Gardening with Stacey. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all and God bless you all. Alright, so currently I am growing in containers and raised bed. I have a few things in grow. No, I get the question all the time, why do you plant in containers instead of in grow? No, the area that I am in, Portmore, Jamaica, it is not the best soil to grow in ground in. Alright, I know farmers in Portmore, and currently two things I noticed that they all have in common. One, for the soil that they grow in, they use a lot of chemical fertilizer to get it nutrients rich for the crops that they are growing. Secondly, the soil is prone to a lot of disease, hence they use a lot of chemical pesticides, and I am not up for that. I grow organically and that's how I want to grow. Not just that, I don't think I personally want to deal with all of that. I just want to grow food and eat and share. As you know, gardening is physical, so it's a lot of work already, so I don't want any extra work on myself. I know a lot of persons saying, but Stacey, you have this space. No, use it up, man. Well, some spaces I am just going to use for planting trees, fruit trees that is. But as it relates to my veggies, I have no interest. I have no interest going in-grown. I rather to back up somewhere and have a little raised bed or something. Well, that's me, alright? Now, first of all, you have to decide on how you are going to go about gardening. Either you're going to choose to grow in containers, in raised beds, or in-grown. So therefore, the space that you have available to you will help you to make that decision. You can do one, you can do both, and you can do all three. It's up to you, the space that you have and the location you're in. Alright, if you were to ask me, I'm starting my garden for the first time, what do you recommend? I personally would recommend start with containers, and the reason for that, you can control so many things using containers, and as we progress in this video, you will see exactly why I said that. Alright, so after deciding the gardening method that you're going to use, now you need to know what you're going to grow and where you're going to grow it. In terms of, you need to know what plants prefer full shade, partial shade, full sun, partial sun. So when you know that, then you'll know how to set up your garden, like what to grow where to grow what. If it is that you have a space like where I'm at that is full sun throughout, no matter what you can do is companion plant your crops or your veggies and your fruits and vegetables. So for the taller crops, you can plant the shorter one or the ones that need shade. You can plant them with the taller ones, so it provides some sort of shade to them. As the video progresses, I will tell you more reasons why companion planting is also essential. Alright, so of course you need proper soil. So you need to know the soil requirements that you need to have for your plants that you're going to grow. There are some that doesn't require much. For example, like a rosemary compared to a cabbage. There are two complete different crops that require different soil. The rosemary doesn't need a nutrients-rich soil. However, your cabbages would need that, and they are very heavy feeders. So you have to consider that. So in the meantime, what you can do to prepare your soil is to gather your kitchen scraps and your coffee grounds, and you cut them up or you blend them and you bury them in your soil until you sow your seeds and they're ready to plant out. You can get your manure or your compost, mix it with your soil and water so that everything can activate and things can start break down in the soil, and the nutrients will be released and your soil will be nutrients rich, ready waiting on your seedlings. No weeds, pests and disease control. No, I know you wouldn't mind, you could garden and don't have to deal with any of that, but it is inevitable. It's something that you need to plan for, or even if you don't want to plan for it, just to have it in mind that yes, this is bound to happen. That is another thing why containers will be good for you, especially if you're just starting out. You will gradually learn how to tolerate these things in your garden and how to deal with them. So weeds, one way to control weeds in your garden to a minimal, that is mulching, because you will still mulch and you still find some weeds pushing through, but not in excess. And that's a good thing about mulching. So you need to consider what you're going to use to mulch. So mulching is another very important aspect to consider. It not just suppress weeds, but it also retain moisture in your soil. No, you have to. You have to. And I stress that because you have to have the mindset to deal with pests. Like I said, it is inevitable. Alright, so how you are going to go about combating pests. Now remember, if you are going to grow organically, then it is expected that you're not going to use any chemical pesticides. So what natural pesticides you are going to use to combat pests? Alright, I just did a video on that the other day, 2 natural pesticides. You can go ahead and watch that. Alright, and don't forget, while you're watching this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you have not yet done so, so that the algorithm can push out my video more to other persons so they can learn and get some inspiration as well. No, don't feel pressured into growing organically. It is just that it is more preferred. It is more healthier and more nutritious for you. But I mean, just to start and get the feel, do what you need to do, what you think best suits you, what you think you can deal with right now at the moment. The important thing is growing food. The thing about that is that you still know what you're putting in your food. Alright, but me personally recommend organic gardening, because that is what I am used to. That is how I started out, and I continued on the journey. Of course, there were times when I felt disappointed, as though, girl, what you're doing, just get some fertilizer. But then I stuck to it. Patience has a lot to do with gardening, because if I wasn't patient and if I didn't say, all right then, you know, let me push and see how it works for me, then I would learn things to share with you. Then I wouldn't be able to be better at gardening. You understand? So yes, it takes a lot of patience in gardening. So those are some of the T's and the I's that you need to cross and you need to dot. Alright? Yeah. Alright, so about watering. No, not all of your plants need watering every day. So sometimes you see me and a person will ask, man, you use a whole lot of water, man, or I couldn't manage to water so much plants. I couldn't manage to water so many plants. But indeed, there are some plants that I need to water every day because of the area that I'm in. And it is very dry. We get little rains and the soil dries out pretty quickly. But to note, it is quite fine for sometimes for your plants, for your soil to dry out and then you water. It is quite fine. The problem is when you leave it dry for extended periods, like 2-3 days, then your plants will suffer. And as a result, they go under stress. As a result, they die or they produce far less than what they are capable of producing. Alright? So come up with a water schedule. Test your soil to see how frequently you need to water. Even by looking at your plants, you can tell that, listen, that plant needs water. Alright, so this is where the location comes in again. I may need to water twice per day every day. You may need to water once per day, or maybe twice per week, 3 times per week. Not because I may water once every day or once every other day means that the same thing will work for you. The area, the location where the plants are, different plants in different location, because you and I can be growing in the same community, the same Portmore, but how I set up my garden is completely different. Where you have your plants, I may have my plants in a different location. I may have my fruit tree in a more sunny location than yours, so I may need to water more, or you may need to water less. How you garden has everything to do with you and your space. What others do, including myself, is a basis for you to work with. Alright? Do you in your garden. You have to do your own experiments, because what works for me may not work for you. Alright? So therefore there's a lot of trials and errors, which is pretty fine, because the fact that you're growing food, trust me, the feeling that you get, I keep saying that it is second to none. You will be encouraged to grow more and more and more. When you start with containers especially, you're able to contain your soil, and if you're renting or leasing a space, then of course you want to be flexible. So containers, again, in that sense, will be of more benefit to you. If you live in an apartment, then definitely no question asked, there has to be contained. There's a lot of things to consider: your tolerance, your patience, how physically able you are to maintain a small garden, a medium-sized garden, or a large garden. All right, healthy, that is. So you have to consider all of those, right? If it is that you have any further questions regarding starting your own garden, just leave them in a comment below. I'll be more than happy to answer them. I hope this video was useful to you. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, walk good.
Come garden with me now, man.
And what a nice place to live. Sweet jam down.